Hey everybody, this is Jake and this is another video in the technical analysis series. Today we're going to talk about trend lines and how to draw them. Trend lines are really just a line connecting two different points of time, whether you're connecting the wick to the wick, which is simply just the highest point on the candle if you're looking at the upside here near resistance, or the lowest point in a candle for support. So notice here, I'm simply just connecting this trend line, this wick to this wick, and the line is extended. When I do this with the body, notice that there's a slightly different line being created because instead of connecting these wicks, I'm connecting the body here to the body here. And once this is extended, notice how many times price respected this area. And we did have a pullback here, but then notice how nicely that demand came in and pushed price back up above this line, and then prices continued to hold above this area for now. So what I want to show here is you'll notice that trend lines are not always going to be perfect, especially this body to body trend line and even this wick to wick trend line. Notice how we did not actually get down to this trend line below within this wick here when we broke down. Now, also notice here, we barely missed this line here. And if you don't have a way to kind of account for these margins of error around trend lines, it's going to be hard sometimes to fully grasp how a trend line works. A trend line is not necessarily there to be an exact point. It's there to be a general area. And so what we do on TrendSpider with our alert system is give you the ability to create a margin of error around that line. So notice here, if I move this sensitivity all the way to the left, this particular candle here would have not been, I would have not been alerted if this candle got, to this area because we didn't hit the exact line. Now, as I move this to the right, notice that I'm able to now take into account some of the margin of error around this line. And you can see here now, we're working with about $1.69 within this line. So now I'm able to be alerted whenever the price action gets anywhere close to this line rather than alert me when the price gets exactly to this line. So that's something that's very powerful on TrendSpider where you're able to really capture some of these moves that don't get exactly to the trend line that you're watching. Same thing here. Notice that the price action did not get down to this line. However, if I would have used an alert here, you're able to see that I would have been able to capture that zone here with that sensitivity. So let's say that I am trading the daily candle, but I do want to know whenever the 10-minute candle closes anywhere within this period, I'll be alerted on the 10-minute candle by just changing the confirmation candle here. So that's something that's really powerful on the system. Something that's also really powerful on the system is the ability to have the system draw these lines for you. So let me just remove everything. And you'll see here at the top we have the trends button. When I click the trends button, notice that all of these different lines pop up. So these lines are different from what I just drew. So it's not that you can't draw your own trend lines, but this is a way to quickly get an idea of maybe trend lines that would be beneficial to the way that you trade. Now, these lines are not TrendSpider lines. These lines are just a function of whatever preference setting you're in. So notice here, we just talked about wick to wick or body to body. You can actually have the system connect these areas differently. Notice here the body to body trend line is being found now by the system that we just showed when I drew it manually. Same thing here. We can see this is connecting the body to body here, and this really acted as nice support. So now when I turn the trend line off, I've got my two levels of interest without having to really do anything on my end. I didn't have to look for any type of trend line. I had the system look for areas of interest based on whatever settings that we're in, i.e., the body to body, wick to wick, whether you're looking at enhanced, standard, or original. That's also going to change the lines. So notice here when I go to original and we apply, there's actually different trend lines popping up. And now we're actually able to see this is a pretty big kind of area here of interest. And notice the confluence of support between this line and this line. So as I turn this off, notice that we now have our trend lines here, some of them are, body to body. Let's say that I want to turn on the trends feature again, and let's do original wick to wick. And you'll see, maybe I want to add this previous area of support, which now would be acting as resistance above. So now, I turn off the trends. So this is a little noisy, so maybe I'll delete this. Maybe I'll, delete this one. And now we've got a pretty good idea of where price is respecting these areas. We've got this previous area of support that's going to act as resistance above if the price moves up. We've got this area of support below that's been the most relevant area of support as of the most recent price action. And then we also have this pretty strong area of resistance above here. I can always delete this and just add, let's say, this line here if I'd like to catch this channel a little better too. There are a ton of ways to use the platform. This is one way you can take advantage of the Trendline feature. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Make sure to subscribe as well to check out more videos like this in the future. Thanks so much.